Okay, so shall we start?
Yes.
So as usual, first refuge, bodhicitta, four immeasurables, and mandala offering.
那像往常一样的，我们就是要做这个皈依，然后发菩提心文，再下来是这个四无量心，然后这是供曼达为这个讲课之前的前行。
Okay, so while we are doing it, just a reminder that you have to fix your motivation, which is of course taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for the sake of all sentient beings, and also not only taking refuge, but also this says that whatever practice, like the 6 parameters and other things that we do, all of them, we are doing it for the purpose of helping sentient beings, right? And then followed by 4 immeasurables, same thing. And then since we are, we have recollected Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, that means we invited them. And therefore, we can't just, invite them and, offer nothing. That's not appropriate. So therefore, mandala offering is for that.
然后现在就是我们要等下做皈依佛、皈依法、皈依僧、皈依三宝的时候，那要记得是必须要先调整自己的我们的这个起心动念，或者说是我们的发心，或者说是这个动机，也就是说了，为了上求佛道、下化众生的缘故呢，我们皈依佛法僧三宝，然后现在是发这个菩提心，然后修这个慈悲喜舍的这个四无量心。然后呢，之后就是因为我们已经引起了诸佛菩萨的降临嘛，然后我们请了他之后不可能不做这个供养，所以发菩提心，然后皈依发菩提心，然后修四无量心之后呢，就是我们要献这个曼达，作为我们对这个诸佛菩萨降临或者是见证我们的一种心意的供养。
相助不多，但是叫做这大概接受级别什么的，罗拉变成三界诸佛说三界就当多界充满，相助不多，但是叫做这大概接受级别什么，罗拉变成三界诸佛说 in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha. I take refuge until enlightenment. By the merit of practicing the paramitas, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Simje, Tanje, Deva, Dan, Deve, Judan, Dembara, Chuje, Dungala, Dan, Dungala, Jin, Judan, Talwara, Chuje, Dungala, Meben, Deva, Dan, Mendawa, Churje Niring Chadang Dan Tawe Tang Yumla Nebara Juru Saje Buje Chuje Medo Dan Rira Pingshe Ninde Jambade Sanje Shendo Mikde Puluwaye Dogen Nanda Jinla Chubara Ju. So we will continue from where we left off last time, which is today, verse number 66. Actually, right now, the main topic is to abandon, to get rid of our attachment to our body, because this attachment to body prevents us from doing a earnest and a serious practice. So that is why many reasons were given so far, and this continues to give reasons why we have to get rid of attachment. It's not saying that we have to neglect, we have to, we shouldn't take care of our body. It's not saying that. I think distinction should be made here. Don't misunderstand it, right? But if there is an attachment, that attachment actually hinders your practice, then that's a problem. So that's the main thing. So that's why if you do have attachment, then it is, we must work on getting rid of it.
那我们继续讲我们上次未讲完的这些要点，课程的要点。那我们来到第66个寄送。那这边到目前为止所要讲，就是要我们强调呢，我们必须要去除我们对我们自己身体的贪婪跟这个执取，因为对身体我们肉体的色身的这种贪婪跟执取呢，会防止我们与这个法道上或者佛法上的精进用功的修持，所以呢，必须要去除身体方面的这个执取。但是呢，所以他给了很多的理由，叫我们为什么必须要舍弃对我们身体的贪婪跟这个执着。当然，这个就是在一个很大的前提之下建设起来，也就是说，我们首先必须要有这个对身体的很强的贪婪跟执取。那这个并不意味着我们必须要否决或者是不去照顾好我们自己的这个色身，所以这个必须要做出两者之间的分别。那千万不要误解说，这个寄送告诉我们不要去照顾我们自己的身体，不是这个意思，而是如果我们有对身体有过度的贪婪跟执取的话呢，那会是一种佛法上精进的障碍跟这个阻力。所以呢，有这个问题的话，如果我们有这个对身体方面的贪婪跟执取的话呢，那是身为佛子的我们必须要强力去除、去净化掉的一个障碍。
On the contrary, actually, I want to say that taking care of our body is very important, and it should be done while you are young, because our body is like a machine that we can see how it works, right? If you don't take care of a machine from the beginning, once that machine is already kind of spoiled or just when something wrong, it's very difficult to fix it. So therefore, I think when you are young, don't abuse that machine. It also has a limit, which means our body has a limit. For example, body can digest, to a limit that we shouldn't really force this the power of digestion to be used up when you are young, because then later on, then you will face a lot of problems, right? So that is why I think taking care of our body is very important. But if you attach to it, attachment is the problem. The body itself is not a problem. Taking care of the body is not a problem, but attachment to the body is the problem.
然后相反的，这个在这边呢，康博要强调就是说，身为一个佛教徒，去照顾好自己的色身、自己的肉体是非常重要的，是极为重要的一件事情。怎么样照顾好自己的生理的机能跟肉身呢？跟这个色身呢？是要趁我们年轻的时候，必须要好好的照顾我们自己的身体上的健康。那我们身体就好像是一副机器一样，那我们知道它是怎么样运作的，它有它运作的功能上的极限。那当这个我们的身体这一副机器老化的时候，或者是有一些机件坏掉的时候呢，那产生故障的时候，到年老的时候再调理的话呢，就是来不及了。所以要趁年轻的时候就好好的调理一下，照顾好自己的色身方面的这个健康，跟生理上的这个机能，不要滥用我们身体的极限，因为身体是有它的一定的极限的。比如说我们的消化能力呢，是有它一定的极限的，它的限制。那不要趁年轻的时候乱吃乱喝，这样到年老的时候就会苦不堪言，对面对身体机能上的种种的毛病跟故障。但是Khenpo这边要强调的说，对身体上的照顾不是一个问题，身体本身也不是一个问题。在这边有问题的是，我们对我们色身过度的贪婪跟执取，这个才是问题所在。
So verse number 66, at second best, it is only fit to be guarded in order to feed the vultures and jackals. Truly, this body is of a human being, should only be employed in the practice of virtue.
那这个入行论这个政治正念品第66个寄颂是这样念的：贪身为一因，维护胡旧时，故应系此身，独为修诸善。
Okay, so this is Shantideva. As you can see, Shantideva is how do we say? I mean, he's not really saying that we should guard it for vultures and jackals. He's condescendingly letting us know that at the end, our body will be given to vultures and jackals, right? So therefore, if you do have a real concern, or in other words, if you do really care that you really want to give these vultures and jackal a very good looking body or something, that kind of thing, then he's saying it's appropriate. However, he knows that we are not doing it, right? We don't have that kind of intention. So therefore, it is equivalent to like keeping your body or saving it or doing a lot of things for the body just for the sake of, vultures and jackals to have better body in the future. If that is so, then you just do it. This is condescendingly, he's saying it.
然后这边呢，吉田菩萨Shantideva在这边讲的是一种类似的反话了。他说，我们贪婪我们的色身的唯一的目的呢，会不会是为了要保护我们自己的色身，免受到这个狐狸跟这个老鹰的食用呢？那如果真的是这样的话，那你大可以这样做。那他知道，吉田菩萨知道我们绝对不会是这样的，因为如果我们这样的话，为了照顾这个色身，为了要准备一个很好的午餐或者晚餐给这个狐狸跟老鹰去享用的话，那这个绝对不是我们照顾我们色身的唯一的目的。那如果你这样做是唯一的目的是为了供养这些野兽啊、狐狸跟老鹰的话，那你且管可以这样做，但是你不是这样的一个目的，所以你为什么要这样做呢？所以你不需要这么的何况你现在照顾好这样的这个色身呢？我们的身体上的种种的庄严的色相了，到最后还是要供养这个狐狸跟老鹰使用的。所以他这边吉田菩萨的讲的目的就是要告诉我们这一点。
Yeah, that is the first half of this verse, but the second half of this verse means that our body should be used properly. So because there is a purpose for this body, and particularly if we use it for that purpose, this body is the best body that you can use because we have a human body. The human body is the best for accomplishing any kind of things for dharma, for spiritual practice, right? So that is why we have to employ this body in order to gain spiritual growth, so for that reason, then, we have to employ it in order to achieve, in order to accumulate merit or the virtue.
这是前半段的这个说明了，后半段的这一寄语呢，后半段讲的是，所以呢，我们应该好好的善用这个香蛮难得的人身这个色身嘛，因为这个是最好的修行用的这个工具，所以人身是最珍贵的器具呢，可以好好的将之转之为道用，这是最好的法器，能够让我们累积福报资粮，然后培养佛法上的修持跟精进的用功。所以就这点呢，这个如果你能够要好好的照顾你自己的色身，为了法道上的利益，或者是善业以及功德上的修持跟累积的话呢，那我们的身体是最好不过的工具跟器具。
So then verse number 67, but should you instead guard it with attachment, then what will you be able to do when it is stolen by the unsympathetic Lord of Death and given to the dogs and birds?
第67个偈颂是这样说的：纵汝护如此，死神不留情，夺以施救狗，届时复何如？
So in other words, if you do take care of your body with attachment, then think about this one. Of course, all of these, the lines and these verses, its underlying kind of understanding is there should be always mindfulness and introspection, right? When we study this. So with these reasons, then we have to abandon attachment to the body with all these different reasons. These reasons then together with mindfulness and introspection, then we will be able to do it. So that is why if we do kind of take care of this body with the attachment, then think about it. If you attach so much to this body right now, but then what will you do at the end when an unsympathetic lot of death comes, right? And give your body, this so kind of beloved body, is given to dogs and other birds and vultures and so forth. At that time, what can you do? What will you do? There's nothing that you can do. So therefore, have this in mind, and then you have to really start letting go of the attachment to this body.
所以呢，现在呢，这边告诉我们就是说，如果我们以这个执着的心来贪婪，来执取我们这个色身这个肉体的话呢，而不是以这个正知正念，以这个把这个肉身这个色身转为道用，以用它来修行跟累积善业的这种动机和发心来做的话，那我们执着于这种身体的习气跟这个烦恼呢，是到最后来是一场空的，到最后来是一场空的。所以呢，这个呢，就算到最后的时候呢，我们如果以这个执着贪婪心来守护我们这个色身，我们这个肉体的话，那死的时候呢，那供养我们这个色身这个肉体，就是要把它供给所以这是比如说鸟类啊、狗类啊等的鸠类之类这些的野兽跟这个动物。这样呢，我们其实是百忙一场嘛，岂不是百忙一场嘛？所以趁这个时候呢，最好我们就是要开始以这个正知正念这两者来好好的转为道用，把我们的身体呢当作是一种修行的道器或者是法器呢，转为道用，那放下对它的贪婪跟所有的执取。
Okay, verse number 68. If servants are not given clothing and so forth, when they are unable to be employed, then why do you exhaust yourself looking after the flesh alone, when even though caring for the body, it goes elsewhere?
下来的第68课偈颂是这样念的：若仆不堪食，足不以衣食，养生而他去，为何善养护？
So as mentioned before, we have to consider our body like a servant, because this body we have is for the employment of accumulating merit and virtue, right? If you cannot do that, then similar to a regular servant who is unemployable, you know, a servant who doesn't do what you want, what you ask them to do, and then you automatically do not give benefits like clothing or things like that. That's the usual practice in the world. Similar to that, then, you know, don't exhaust yourself looking after this body which you cannot employ for your own benefit of accumulating merit, right? So that's why basically it is saying, again, another point of looking at your body and then, you know, see whether it's worth of your attachment. Of course, with that, then you will see clearly that it is not worthy of your attachment.
好了，这边的第68课偈颂是告诉我们说，那我们身体就好像一个器具，那我们的仆人、我们的佣人一样的，他那边就是我们必须要用它。那用它来干什么呢？我们必须用这个身体来滋养我们的这个善业功德。那如果这个工人，我们所聘用的工人呢，不听从我们的命令的话，不为我们做事的话，不供给我们这个衣食上的这个衣食上的种种的照料，跟做种种的工作的话，那我们请他又有什么用呢？所以这边就告诉我们说，这个身体的这个仆人，如果我们没有用他来善加以这个滋养我们的功德跟善业的话，而是用它来以贪婪心来执取他的色相、美丽跟庄严的话，这种执着是不可取的。那到最后呢，还是我们不会得到任何的好处跟受用的。所以现在开始就要明白，为什么我们必须还是要对这样的这个没有用的器具这样的工人，去加以执取跟贪婪呢？
Okay, next verse number 69. Now, having paid my body its wages, I shall engage it in making my life meaningful. But if my body is of no benefit, then I shall not give it anything.
那第68 9个寄颂，既愁彼心知，单令伴无力，无益则已彼，一切不应语。
So paid my body its wages, meaning treat the body well, okay? Which means take care of it well. But don't attach it, right? Then by taking care of it, then you have to employ it. You have to use it for what you really want it to use for, which is to accumulate merit, to help sentient beings, and practice Dharma, right? Through this body. If you have a healthy body, you can do better practice. If you don't have a healthy body, this will hinder your practice. So that's why taking care of body is important, but attachment is not, because attachment to the body will disturb your practice. So that is why, if, in other words, like you have to treat this body to the extent that you can now employ it, but don't go beyond that. Don't give everything to it, because it's not worth doing that, because giving everything means then it is an indication of having attachment to it.
这边就是告诉我们说，是的，我们必须好好的去照顾、去照料我们这个色身，我们这个肉体，但是不要对它加以过度的这个执取。那如果我们对它加以过度的执取的话，那对我们一点好处也没有的。那我们必须要用我们这个色身、这个肉体来干嘛？来做什么？就是用它来去累积善业福德资粮，然后去帮助、去解救一切的这个众生，也就是努力佛法上的精进、道业上的这个用功。那除此之外别无其他。如果超越这个界限的话，一旦我们对我们身体的贪婪心过度的升起的话，那不只是对我们自己本身没有好处，乃至对我们的修行来说是一大障碍。所以就此而言呢，我们必须要减低或者是净化我们对我们身体上、我们肉体上的贪婪跟这个执取。所以身体本身跟照顾身体本身不是问题，而是对身体的色身的过度的贪婪跟执取才是问题本身。这边的这个所在。所以一旦执取的话呢，我们就会产生了对我们修道上的这个障碍，所以我们必须要善用我们的身体，照顾我们的身体，但是千万不可去贪婪执取我们的这个色身，或者说是这个肉体。
Then verse number 70, I should conceive of my body as a boat, a mere support for coming and going, and in order to benefit all others, transform it into a wish-fulfilling body.
那第70个寄颂，念身如舟楫，为冲来去依，为伴有情力，修成如一身。
So conceive of my body as a boat, meaning you have to consider our body as like a means of transportation. So we are on a journey, particularly as a Buddhist practitioner. Our aim is to be able to achieve liberation or perfect enlightenment, which means going from this place to the other shore. So that is the journey that we are taking. In order to embark on this journey, we need transportation, right? So that is why our body is like a transportation, like a boat. And when you reach to the other shore, which is your destination, usually, in a boat, you don't take boat from, the ocean or whatever, because to the dry land, you don't take it, right? You leave it behind. Similarly, so conceiving our body as a boat means don't attach to it. So in other words, later on, you have to leave this body behind. So therefore, with this understanding, you have to let go of the attachment now.
所以这边就告诉我们说呢，我们的身体呢，必须要把它当作像舟楫一般的这个交通工具。那我们在这个修道成佛的这个旅途上呢，那解脱或者无上正的正觉是我们这一趟旅途的唯一的最后的目标。 最无上的目标。那从此岸过渡到这个涅槃究竟的彼岸的时候呢，为了好好的过渡到彼岸呢，我们需要一个很好的交通工具。所以这一个人生，这个色身呢，这个肉体呢，就是我们最好的一艘船。那船舟楫嘛，所以这个船到岸的时候，当我们运用我们这个人生来修持，到了彼岸的时候，那我们必须要不可能扛着这艘船，必须要同时要把这个肉体这个船呢给放下。到了对岸，到了彼岸的时候，必须完全给舍弃给放下。那为什么我们现在开始需要何须对我们的身体产生过度的执取跟挂碍呢？因为到最后我们还是必须要把我们的身体跟肉身给放下了。所以有了这个正知正解呢，从现在开始，当下就立刻必须要斩除或者是舍弃掉我们对我们自己本身的色身方面的、肉身方面的挂碍执取跟这个执着。
So transform it into a wish-fulfilling body means if we use our body for accumulating merit and virtue now by performing activities that are benefiting other sentient beings, then eventually, right, eventually you will achieve the perfect enlightenment or the Buddhahood. So achieving Buddhahood means then you will have a Buddha body. It's called Kaya, Buddha Kayas, and there are different Buddha Kayas, the Dharmakaya, the Sambhoga Kaya, and the Nirmana Kaya, right? So Dharmakaya is the ultimate Buddha body, which has no form, you cannot see it, but that is where you achieve enlightenment, perfect enlightenment. Achieving perfect enlightenment means achieving this Buddha Dharmakaya. But since Dharmakaya does not have form, right? So therefore, it does not perform the activities that usually are performed by means of a body. But Dharmakaya doesn't have a physical body. So that's why Dharmakaya, with the infinite compassion and wisdom it has, due to these two as a cause, then it kind of manifests into Sambhoga Kaya, which has a physical body, right? And benefits in a higher level of bodhisattvas. And then Nirmana Kaya. The Nirmana Kaya has so many different forms that Buddha can manifest, and then benefits enormous number of sentient beings. So that's why it's called wish-fulfilling body, because once you have it, then you can achieve whatever you wish to achieve. So that's why wish-fulfilling body, or in other words, through this achievement of the Buddha body, you will be able to fulfill all the wishes of sentient beings. So that is why it is called wish-fulfilling body.
所以呢，这边呢，修成如意身最后一句话，它的意思就是告诉我们说，当我们现在努力的运用我们的这个色身肉体，好好的精进用功修持的时候，当我们能够好好的累积福德资粮，那到最后圆成这个无上正等正觉，也就是成就佛道的时候，就是成佛开悟的时候呢，那我们就会成就了佛的身体，也就是所谓的佛身，就是嘎雅。那有哪三种身呢？就是我们成就佛的法身、报身跟这个化身。那佛的这个法身，也就是真理法界之身，也就是当我们证入这个无上正等觉的时候呢，所拥有的身体就是法身。那法身是无形无色无相的，也就是无上正等正觉的这个代名词，所以称之为 Dharmakaya。那因为它无形无色无相，所以它无法开展这个佛法中有相有形色的各种诸佛的事业跟这个度化众生的功能。所以因为你证入这个法身之后呢，在法身当中升起这个无量的大悲心跟大智慧的时候，以这个二者大悲大智为因的时候，那就演化出了这个报身佛的形象。那报身佛的形象就能够度化一些比较大菩萨的这个阶位的这些众生。 那有了这个法身，再升起，再从法身的大悲大智中升起这个报身佛之后呢，再因为有这个无量无碍的方便的显化，那就有了这个化身佛。化身佛，化身佛的话就能够广度六道当中的无止无尽的这个众生，所以称之为修成如意身，就是证到佛的3种身，就是法身、报身跟这个化身。那它如意身的意义呢，就是当你证到佛的3身的时候，你能够随心满愿，无碍的去广度众生。那第二层意思呢，当你修成这个佛的法报化3身的时候，你能够随心满愿的、无碍的去广度众生，然后满足众生的一切的祈愿跟一切的这个渴望。这个就是修成如意身的它的意思，这2层意思。
So from this verse onwards, it's a instruction or the advice to how to be skillful, how to be creative in order to accomplish your practice.
所以从这个基础开始呢，这边就告诉我们是如何去运用佛的种种的佛道上的种种善巧方便呢，创意的这个显化呢，去达到我们修持的目的跟功用。
So verse number 71, now while there is freedom to act, I should always present a smiling face and cease to frown and look angry. I should be a friend and counsel of the world.
然后第71个偈颂是这样念的：自主己身心恒常露笑颜，平息怒纹眉，纵有真实语。
So first thing is you really have to achieve this freedom. You have to achieve this, the power of your mind. The mind is not gone to other things, but it's in your control. So mind is under your control, and that means you have the freedom to act. So then in order to be friendly to other people so that you can attract people and then you can help them, benefit them. So therefore, the one very important thing is always show your face, smiling face. And also don't be kind of showing your frown and looking angry kind of attitude and face to other people. Always be friendly so that people can consider you as a friend, and also ready to counsel any situation, any given situation in the world, whoever needs it.
然后呢，首先这边呢，这个大前提就必须要我们先要达至我们自心上的这个自由跟这个自主。那唯有我们拥有这个对心的控制的力量的时候，当我们的心能够毫无颠倒梦想、挂碍烦恼的时候，心能够自主的话，能够安定自主的话，那有这个无碍的自由的话呢，这样的话我们才能够以一种很友善的方式呢去善巧方便的去摄化跟度化一切的这个众生。所以这个寄语告诉我们，必须要以一种友善的这个姿势、友善的态度跟面孔呢，去面对其他的众生，这样的话才能够自他无碍的自利利他。所以必须要常常笑脸迎人，不要一副怒火冲天的这个样子。必须要常常的以这种能够摄受他人的方式呢，以一种微笑的慈祥的面容去对待所有的这个众生。那做众生的善友，就是这样，你有爱的和善的去对待其他众生的时候呢，那众生有什么事情的时候才能够请教于你，这样的话你才能够真正的帮助到他们，使他们得到这个佛道上无上的解脱跟受用。
So be a friend meaning really genuine friend, okay, not just pretended friend or diplomatic kind of friend, but be a genuine friend. And also when you ask for advice or suggestion, so be honest, be truthful, not deceitful, right? So you give all, whatever you can from your heart, like a genuine kind of suggestion or advice. So this way, then, you will be really a genuine friend to everybody who wants friend.
所以在这边而言，就是吉田菩萨鼓励我们要做众生真实的善友，那是真诚的朋友、善良的朋友，而不是这种外教式的、虚伪的只是表面对你很好，可是内里就是口蜜腹剑的这些虚假的这个朋友。所以呢，必须要从内心深处呢，给予众生需要的任何的帮助跟劝告呢，你都必须打从内心深处重新出发，真诚的、友善的给予他们需要的帮助跟这个关怀。这个才是众生真实的、真正的善良的朋友，真实的善友。
So verse number 72, I should desist from inconsiderately and noisily moving around chairs and so forth, as well as from violently opening doors. I should always delight in humility.
那第72个偈颂是这样念的：一坐勿随意，知发大音声，开门勿触辱，常喜极静行。
I think this is advice for everybody, of course, particularly those who are living in group, like in our case, in a monastery or a school, so many people live together, neighbor to each other or roommates or whatnot. So this is for them. But also it is applied to everybody, even your own home. You have family members and you have to respect each other. So therefore, don't be inconsiderate, always considerate. And so that's why whatever you do, you have to do it with a very, I don't know what do you call that, quietly and not violently, but peacefully. Don't be too loud or anything. Even if you are speaking, of course, you have to speak clearly, but not very loudly, So similarly, if you are moving the chairs or the furniture around, don't do it with too much noise or violently. Similarly, opening doors, closing doors, so you do it very, very calmly and peacefully, quietly. So basically, you have to be feeling very delightful for being, or in other words, you have to be humble. You have to be in humility.
所以这边就告诉我们说呢，这些特别是跟大众这些人居住在一起的这些人呢，比如说是住在同一间学校、同一间寺院里的这些同住同修，那也包括跟我们住在一起的这个室友，居住在同一个房间里面的朋友，或者是乃至于包括我们跟家人，我们跟家人必须一起同住同行嘛，对不对？所以家里面的成员都居住在一起的时候，我们必须要互相的尊重，互相的体谅对方，不给这个粗声细语。不需要这个粗言旷语呢去影响到对方的安宁跟寂静。那也就是说，我们互相要尊重对方，要在乎对方的这个自主权或者他们的个人的空间。那就是做什么事情都必须要非常的斯文，非常的小心翼翼的。那讲话也必须要不要粗粗鲁鲁的，必须要轻声细语的跟对方在言谈举止间必须要非常的斯文，必须要小心，不可粗鲁。那包括也就是说讲话呢必须要轻声细语要表达清楚，但是不可以大声的讲话。那同时在家里面移动一些桌子椅子的躯体的时候，也不会发出很大的这个声响。那同时不管你开门关门做什么都好了，必须要非常轻柔的斯文的和平的，不要干扰，以不干扰别人的这个寂静为大前提去做一些事情，去讲一些的话。那这是所谓的这个寂静行就是互相尊重对方的空间的一种寂静行。换句话说，就是要保持谦卑的态度了。
Okay, verse number 73. The stork, the cat, and the thief, by moving silently and carefully, accomplish what they desire to do. A bodhisattva too should always behave in this way.
第73个偈颂，水鸥猫盗贼无声行隐蔽，故诚所意事，能人如是行。
So here, the number one, the translation we have is stroke, but Padmakara's translation is heron. But anyway, this is a water bird, right? I mean, which when they hunt, when they search for their food, they do it very quietly. So that's the thing. And then also the cat and the thief. The thief is what is used here.
我在利用整发的在听那个课。
Hello，可以把自己声音关下了吗？
OK， 然后需要上课吗？不用对吗
？Hello， 请可以把你的声音关下吗？
这样 OK。
Hello。
Okay. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear, but somebody's talking.
Let me search for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Stephen Batchelor's translation has a thief, and Padmakara's translation has burglar. Anyway, these are examples. Because it's not saying the bodhisattvas should do like them, because they are, the only example is how they do it. They do it very quietly, very skillfully, right? So that's the only resemblance here. It doesn't mean that the how cats hunt, right? Bodhisattvas should do that. It's not like that. The way they are doing it. So that's how we, the practitioner, the bodhisattva, should always behave in this way.
那这边意思就是这边翻译成这个海鸥、水鸥。那巴玛嘎拉的翻译是这个水鸟，也就是说水鸟或者海鸥在捕鱼的时候，在捕吃这个鱼质的时候呢，他们是非常的静静的，静悄悄就是把鱼抓来吃，就这样承办了。那在这边还有猫也是，猫要吃鱼或要做任何东西的时候，都是非常静静的，然后才能够承办它要做的事情。盗贼，这个 Stephen Batchelor 的翻译是小偷 thief， 然后这边其实另外一个翻译就是盗贼，这边翻译成盗贼，也就是说小偷或者盗贼要偷东西的时候，这是静悄悄的在行事的，在办案的。所以同样的，这边不是说作为一个菩萨，你必须要学习他们这样的这种静静的态度去偷东西，不是这个意思，而是说我们要做任何事情都必须要静悄悄的、安静的、温柔的、柔和的去进行不要去发出很大的声响，不要让别人知道你在做什么。所以人人如是行，所以佛子应该要如是的承办诸种修持的事业跟这个功德。
Okay, verse number 74. With respect, I should gratefully accept unsought after words that are of benefit and that wisely advise and admonish me. At all times, I should be the pupil of everyone.
所以下来第74个偈颂呢，与善劝勉人，未请饶益于，恭敬却顶戴，恒为众人徒。
So basically, it means, again, you have to be humble. You have to be ready for any kind of advice that is given by some other people, even without asking. But you have to look at the content. If it has any benefit, something good there, then you have to accept it respectfully and be a student. Be a pupil to everyone. So this way you will gain a lot of things. But if you do it the other way around, like arrogant, then you gain nothing.
所以这边呢就告诉我们说，那你必须要变成一个很谦卑的这个佛子，也就是说别人给你一些劝告、一些劝勉、一些告诫的时候呢，你必须要准备好呢去抛弃你的自我，去接受他们讲的一些话。如果这些话的内容是对你来讲是有用的话，那你必须要很尊敬的去接受别人的劝语、劝告。那也就是好学不倦，非常要变得非常的谦卑，然后具有开放的心态去接受别人的这个告诫。那如果你骄傲自大的话呢，这对你的修学在佛道上的修学是一点帮助也没有的。 必须要做众人徒，就是谦卑的成为别人的这个学生，或者说是这个学生，或者说是学徒。
So as you can see, these are how you can be skillful, because any given situation, you can always transform it into something very beneficial, something very good. Because, you know, for example, somebody voluntarily gives you advice like, practice Dharma, or, you know, study well, or something like that, then you should really respectfully accept it, rather than like, you know, why this person is so noisy, or getting into my business, that kind of attitude. No, shouldn't be that. But instead, you have to appreciate what these people are saying.
所以呢，这边就告诉我们说，如果你能够运用在这个菩萨道上的各种善巧跟方便的话呢，能够创意的发挥在你生活中的话，把这个佛法的善巧方便以创意发挥在你生活当中的话，任何佛法、任何生活中的状况，你都能够转之为道，当做一个修行的大契机、大机会。所以这边当别人自动为你提告，就是为你自动给一些好的劝告跟这个告诫的时候呢，你就必须毫无条件的去接受他们的这个善意的这个劝勉。那也不要说要怀疑别人的目的跟动机是什么，也不要说这个人总是喜欢喋喋不休的讲一大堆没有用的话，或者说是好管闲事，不可以这样的这种自己的意思呢，去怀疑别人的这个动机。所以你必须要珍惜别人好意劝告你，比如说别人叫你要去用功的读书啊，好好的修持佛法等等这些的这个告诫呢，你都必须要诚心真意的保持谦卑的态度呢，去完全的接受他们的这些劝告。
Then verse number 75, I should say, well said to all those who speak Dharma well. And if I see someone doing good, I should praise him or her and be well pleased.
那第75个，一切妙眷语皆赞为善说，见人行福善，赞叹生欢喜。
So this means that usually, you know, when people say some, in other words, speak like a Dharma or something like that, you always automatically look for shortcomings. And then you can always say, oh yeah, he's, you know, speaking Dharma quite well, but there's always but, right? But shouldn't be. You have to be really like praising the person like a wholeheartedly. Again, not like a pretentious thing. Genuinely, you have to say, well said, you well spoken on the Dharma, your Dharma talk was really, really good, or something like that. And so not only that, but if someone is doing something good, then you really have to praise him or her instead of being jealous, right? So this way, then again, you are actually being very smart, very skillful in accomplishing or gaining a lot of benefits for yourself by engaging in these kinds of activities, or showing your attitude towards people in this way.
在这边就是说，别人说法，别人讲这个佛法，给佛法的开示，他们说的很好的时候呢，我们要多加赞叹跟这个随喜他们。那一般上我们看到别人说法的时候，我们总是会挑他们的毛病，说这个人说的佛法说的不错，但是这个但是总是在我们的这个言辞跟这个思考当中。那这样我们就不能够随喜赞叹别人的说法上的这个功德。那不只是这个但是赞叹随喜的时候，我们必须要真心诚意，而不是虚情假意的，就是由衷的打从我们内心深处呢去赞叹或者随喜别人在佛法上所做出的很好的很殊妙的这个开始跟佛法的这个讲授。这不只是如此，不只是佛法上的讲授，而是当别人做善事做功德的时候，我们应该要由衷的从内心深处呢发出对他们的赞叹跟这个随喜。这样的话，如果你能够善巧运用这种随喜赞叹的方面的话，在自利利他方面呢，你都能够为自己跟别人呢累积无数的这个功德跟善业。
Okay, next verse number 76. I should discreetly talk about the good qualities of others and repeat those that others recount. if my own good qualities are spoken about, I should just know and be aware that I have them.
那第76个偈颂就是暗称他人功，随和他人的文人称己的因小知得者。
So discreetly talk means, because otherwise people might say, oh, he is, I don't know, maybe politicizing, or due to politics that he's doing it. He doesn't mean it genuinely, right? That kind of thing. In order to avoid that kind of criticism, you discreetly talk about the good qualities of other people. And if other people are talking, or second person is talking about the third person, you join and repeat the others' recount, good qualities of other people. And if somebody is talking about your own good qualities, instead of becoming very proud, you should say that, this person is really a, I don't know what you call it, very honest and maybe good person, for the who does not feel jealous of other people's qualities. Instead of becoming boastful of your own qualities, you should really turn the quality of, and talk about quality of one who is praising you.
然后这边就告诉我们说，当所谓的暗称他人功，就是你必须要暗中称赞别人的，称赞跟赞叹跟随喜他人的这个功德。为什么要暗中做呢？因为当你公开的赞颂别人的时候，那可能会觉得，很多人会认为说你是因为政治化，或者因为一些外在的理由呢，去赞颂、去随喜这个人，而不是真心诚意的。所以为了避免他人这些讥称呢，所以你必须要暗中的称赞、随喜别人的这个功德。可是当有第二个人，然后有第三个人去随喜这个你所称赞的这个第二个人的这个功德跟好事的时候，你必须要加入这个第三个人，然后重复的去广加的宣扬这个第二个人的德行跟他的善业跟他的这个功德，所以你必须要这样做。所以可是当别人称赞自己、随喜自己的功德的时候呢，我们必须要不可以这个自夸，也不需要觉得骄傲，而是必须要反过来借用这个机会呢，善巧方便的把功德归于那个称赞随喜你功德的那个人。那认为说这样的话呢，其实这样正好证明这个人能够随喜他人的功德，这个人不妒忌别人的成就，这个人才是真正我们值得夸奖跟随喜的这个对象，而不是我这个人本身。
So the last line of this one, right, says, I should just know and be aware that I have them. This is the Stephen Batchelor's translation. But I think according to what we have in the root text in Tibetan, it's not I should, it's not aware that I have them. I think it should be something like other person. You have to give credit to that person who is praising you, which is, oh, that person really knows what is quality, right? So he is a wise person that recognizes whoever has quality. So right now it happens to be me. So then he's talking about my quality. So instead, because you don't have to be aware of that I have them, because you already know whether you have it or not. So that's why I think this is a wrong translation. It means like you have to give the credit to person who is praising you, thinking that, oh, this guy is really aware of who has quality, what is quality, right? That kind of thing.
这边呢，这个我们说这个因小知得者，这个 Stephen Batchelor 的翻译就是说，英文那边是讲说，你必须要知道你拥有这样的一个人呢，有这个人在那边去随喜赞叹自己的这个 的功德。那其实真正的意思或许不是这样。然后康普老就告诉我们说，因为这一边这个人有人在赞颂你的功德，你已经知道了，你所以不需要再提醒自己说你拥有这样的一个赞颂你功德的这个对象这个人。相反的，你必须要知道的，你必须要做的就是说，你必须要把自己的功德归功于这个赞扬。或者是随喜你的这个人，因为只有这个人才知道觉知到什么是真正的功德。这个人已经做到了随喜他人的功德，而没有生这个妒忌心，然后诽谤的这种恶念恶业。所以这样的你转之为道用的话，就是归功于那个赞颂你的这个人呢，才是这个本颂这个寄语呢，所要跟我们表达的意思。他真正的意思并不是说你知道有这样的一个人在赞颂你，而是必须要归功于那个赞颂你的人呢，说他这个赞颂你的人才是真正的了知何为功德的这个人。
Okay, next verse number 77. All deeds of others are the source of a joy. That would be rare, even if it could be bought with money. Therefore, I should be happy in finding this joy in the good things that are done by others.
那第77个偈颂，一切行为善，慈喜价难估，故当依他德安享随喜乐。
Again, I think this one also has a little bit trouble with the translation. I think what it means is not just all deeds of others, maybe not others, all deeds of everybody, including ourselves, are the source of the joy, because we do things in order to achieve some happiness, right? So that's the thing. Whatever we do, you, me, everybody, we are doing it in order to achieve some happiness. So that kind of happiness is even rare, even if it could be bought with money, because when money cannot buy it, right? So therefore, if we can find this joy, this happiness by appreciating what other people are doing instead of, being jealous of it, and admiring what other people are doing, rejoicing in what other people are doing, because by rejoicing, by admiring, by praising what other people are doing, you gain happiness. You gain some kind of comfort within your own mind. So that is, I think, the meaning of this verse.
所以这边呢，所谓的这边的翻译的英文的翻译的 Stephen Batchelor 的翻译也是有一点点稍微的字词上的不大达意。那因为这一次所谓的随喜他者，不只是随喜他者，而是随喜一切众生，一切众生包括自己。所以我们要随喜别人的同时，要随喜自己能够生出的这个功德。那随喜的就得到安乐，为什么呢？因为我们众生，你我他，所有的一切众生呢，生存的目的、生活的意义跟目标，无非的就是离苦得乐，为了得到究竟永恒的平安跟快乐，就是得安乐的意思。所以这样的这种随喜他人的功德呢，是金钱难以买到的，即便是金钱能够买到，也是非常的稀有跟举世珍贵的。所以这边呢，就告诉我们说，不要妒忌别人的成就，不要怀疑他们的这个功德跟善业上的证悟，而是要不断的随喜赞叹别人的这个功德。当你能够随喜赞叹，打开心门随喜赞叹别人的功德，别人的善业的时候呢，自己也会得到大自在、大安乐，在身心方面觉得无比的舒畅、自在跟这个欢喜。这个偈颂所要告诉我们的意义所在。
Next, verse number 78. Through doing this, I shall suffer no losses in this life, and in future lives shall find great happiness. But the fault of disliking their good qualities will make me unhappy and miserable, and in future lives I shall find great suffering.
那第78个偈颂是这样念的：如是今无寻，来世乐亦多；反之因嗔苦，后世苦更真。
So this means when you engage in this kind of activities of admiring, rejoicing, and praising what other people are doing, in other words, good work, then this is a really wonderful thing that without putting any kind of any particular effort or any kind of monetary investment, you gain so much, right? And this lifetime you will be happy, and because of this accumulation of great merit, then in the future life you will have a better life as well as happier life, and so forth and so on. And so that's why when you look at this way, this is the best investment, something that you can really gain so much afterwards.
所以你这一世呢，你什么都不用做，那1分钱也不必去做任何金钱上的投资，那你只要努力的去学习赞叹别人的功德，一切众生的功德，自他包括自己跟别人的功德，你只要这样的去真心诚意去学习赞叹的话呢，不止你这一生能够平安快乐，乃至于因为你在这一生所累积的这种学习他人功德的福德资粮呢，你下一世乃至于生生世世呢，都能够更好更安乐，这样辗转增上无尽的增上你的自己的善业跟这个功德跟福报。所以这个是康波老就告诉我们，这个其实是我们在修行上最好的投资了，投资报酬率非常高的一种作为，学习赞叹别人的功德。
Then verse number 79, when talking, I should speak from my heart and on what is relevant, making the meaning clear and the speech pleasing. I should not speak out of desire or hatred, but in gentle tones and in moderation.
下来第79个偈颂是这样念的：出言当诚意，意名语相关，乐意离贪嗔，柔和调适中。
So here, when talking, meaning if somebody asks you questions, right, you have to give the response in this manner, like from your heart. And also the subject-wise, topic-wise, whatever is relevant. If someone asks you questions about Dharma, you shouldn't be talking about politics, right? So in other words, on the relevant subject. And also the talk, your advice has to be, in terms of its meaning, it has to be clear. It shouldn't be like a mumbo jumbo kind of thing, so like confusing. It should be really clear in meaning. And also the way you speak, your tones and things like that should be also pleasing. That's something that people like to listen to, right? And also, one should not be speaking out of desire or hatred. So in other words, out of really like a genuine sympathy or genuine caring, loving kindness, compassion. And also the way you should speak is really in a gentle tones, and also the degree, the length of your speech should be moderate, because not too much, too long should be, and then people get bored, but also not too short, because then people don't understand, right? So in other words, moderate.
所以呢，这边就告诉我们说，当别人跟我们说话，当别人问我们问题的时候呢，我们必须要以下面所说的这样的方式来回答。那第一呢，我们必须要诚心真意的去跟别人讲话，去跟别人交流跟这个对谈，必须打从内心深处呢，真心诚意的去跟别人交流跟交谈。那不要言不及义。所以他问关于佛法的问题的时候，我们就用佛法的那内容回答他，不要说他问佛法的问题的时候，我们就用政治方面的东西来敷衍他，不是这个意思，绝对不能够这样做。所以讲的东西必须要跟这个谈论的主题或者是问题的主题呢相关，而不是言不及义的。那同时我们必须要很清楚的表达我们谈话内容的意思，让他们明白。 不要让别人听了你的话之后呢，觉得有一大堆的这个困惑。同时，我们讲话的方式，我们必须以一种很悦耳、悦意的方式呢，跟别人轻声细语的说话。不要以这个贪心跟嗔心，不要以这个贪婪心跟嗔恨心呢这种动机、这种烦恼来跟别人交谈或者说是交流。所以呢，这样的话，我们同时必须要以这个除了讲话的方式之外，我们的发心跟动机也必须以这个同理心、关怀心、慈悲心，很柔和的、很轻声细语的回答别人的提问，或者跟别人做这个谈话上的这个交流。那同时我们讲话的这个时间点也不能够太长或者太短，讲话说的太多，时间太长的话呢，别人可能会觉得无聊，不能够集中精神去聆听你的内容。那讲话说的太短的话，可能词不达意，讲得不清不楚。所以呢，讲话的这种时间长度适中也是非常重要的一件事。
Next, verse number 80. When beholding someone with my eyes, thinking I shall fully awaken through depending upon this being, I should look at him with an open heart and love.
那第80个偈颂是这样念的：眼见有情时，诚慈而视之；念我亦已彼，乃能成佛道。
So, in other words, when you see someone, whether that person happens to be an important person, high-ranking person, or just simple, ordinary person, but in your mind you have to think, you have to say to yourself that may this person, meeting with this person, may it become the cause, okay, the root cause for me to be able to achieve ultimately Buddhahood.
所以换句话说，这个偈颂告诉我们说，不管你遇到任何的这个人是不是大人物，或者是不是重要的一个人，这个人是不是位高权重，或者是只是平常人一个，那我们都必须要告诉自己呢，愿我遇到了这个人，希望这个人的出现呢，能够这个人的出现，希望他能够是我们成佛的因，也是这个人不管他是谁，他的出现都是导致你达成无上正等正觉的主要的原因。那你必须要告诉自己这一点。
Yeah, in other words, treat all these people when you encounter these people, when you see these people as your spiritual friend, your Dharma friend, right? Because what does Dharma friend do? The Dharma friend, they gives rise to, causes you to give rise to bodhicitta first, and then it inspires you to engage in the bodhisattva practices such as 6 parameters, right? Through this way, then eventually you will attain perfect Buddhahood. So that is how you can treat these people when you see them.
所以换句话说，当你善待众生的时候，这些所有你遇到的，在你生命中出现的任何人、任何众生呢，其实都是你的法理或者说是道友。那所谓的法理道友，也就是说，他能够引领你或者启发你升起这个无上菩提心。当你升起这个菩提心的时候，你实践菩萨道的时候，乃至这个6度万行的实践跟修持的时候呢，到最后呢，他们就是你能够得证无上正等正觉，也就是成佛、解脱跟开悟的主要的原因。所以他们众生的出现呢，正好能够启发你、推动你呢，圆成无上的佛道。所以必须要以这样的观点、这样的态度呢，来善待一切的众生。众生都是我们的法友和道侣。
Okay, so next verse number 81. Always being motivated by great aspiration or being motivated by the remedial forces. If I work in the fields of excellence, benefit and misery, great virtues will come about.
第81个偈颂是这样念的：恒依强欲乐，或依对治因，以施悲福田，成就大福善。
Okay. So in other words, you have to have this motivation that, you know, with positive motivation, always thinking about getting rid of all of the mental afflictions. So that means remedial forces, meaning, you know, whatever the situation, you have to always, again, with the help of mindfulness and introspection, you have to think about all the remedies of each of those, you know, mental affliction arises.
所以在这边呢，就是强调的是这个发心的重要，也就是无时不刻呢，身为菩萨道的行者，我们必须要时时提醒自己呢，必须要有这个正面的善好的动机跟这个发心，也是以离一切烦恼为主要的对治的引力，也就是说，我们必须要有这个正念正知呢，去觉知到一切烦恼的对面的烦恼反面的，所以这个对治法门的这些推动力呢是什么？然后依之来起修。 然后呢，培植我们的这个福善的资粮跟功德。
So this means really like there are so many different things in it. For example, whatever practice you do, whatever the Bodhisattva you know, practice you do, in terms of the time, you really have to be consistent. You know, you have to engage in these kind of Bodhisattva activities all the time, right? And also, when you do it in your mind at that time, you shouldn't be doing this with like a desire, anger, or so forth. However, you have to do it with complete trust in Bodhisattva path, and also the loving kindness, compassion towards all sentient beings. So, you know, with this kind of a strong motivation, and then each of your practice should be accompanied by remedies of all those practices, such as if you are practicing generosity, then of course generosity is the remedy for stinginess, right? You are getting rid of stinginess, and so forth and so on. So in other words, with the help of, again, mindfulness, introspection, you have to be ready with all these understandings, all this knowledge.
所以这边呢很多法门，这边讲了很多的法门的这个行持。那比如说在我们菩萨道上，我们在菩萨道上用功精进的时候，在时间点上必须要的时刻的维持精进的这种动力，那无时不刻的永恒不懈的往前迈进，向前迈进。然后呢，不可以这个烦恼心为修持的动机。 也说不能够以这个嗔或者是贪等等的，来行持我们来修持我们种种菩萨道上的法门啊，必须要信任这个菩萨道的种种的法门上的这个修持，那必须心怀一切众生，必须要以慈悲心、大慈大悲心的对待一切众生。所以拥有这样的这种强大的愿力跟这个发心之后呢，那我们一切的修持也必须要以这个对治的法门为推动。 为引力，为推动的这个动力跟引力。那比如说布施，布施为了对治什么呢？对治我们的这个奸贪、贪吝之心，所以诸如此类的。所以像这样的话，我们以正念、正知来了了分明、觉知关照，然后呢修持以这个对治为主的，以这样对治为主的这个动力呢向前迈进的话呢，这个才是真正的菩萨道上的成就大福善的真正的佛道上的修持。
Okay, so we will stop here today, and so next is our question answer session.
我们就今晚就说到这一边了，下来是问答的时间。请问各位如果有问题的话，可以在这时候发问。Venerable Khenpo Jorden, thank you very much for the teaching. Could you please could you please give some advice or inspiring words when reflecting on the great qualities of bodhisattvas, and on the other way, we still see that we have our own obscuration, affliction, attachment, etc. How can we reflect and transform this into understanding and compassion for all sentient beings and use it as a path to practice?
Yeah, can you maybe translate it into Mandarin?
那这边就问说 Khenpo 谢谢您的这个开示，可否您给我们一些告诫或者劝言呢，或者鼓励或者启发我们？当我们思维到这个佛菩萨的功德跟事业的时候呢，我们会想到自己的，还是看到自己有一些某些障碍、烦恼跟习气是还未能开拓、未能够超越的。那我们怎么能够思维就转化这些挂碍跟烦恼呢？去转为对这个菩提道上的这种种种的体悟、认知、了解，同时以这个大慈大悲心去面对跟广度一切众生呢？怎么样以智为道而修行呢
？Yeah, thank you for this question. Yeah, you really have to think. All these great bodhisattvas, they were once like us, right? And but with their effort and consistency with that effort, never giving up, no matter how difficult it was, right? They succeeded. And of course, it wasn't in a very short period of time. They had to go through this practice of Bodhisattva path for a long, long time, right? So for example, from the Sutra point of view, the shortest one for a Mahayana practitioner or Bodhisattva to achieve Buddhahood is 3 incalculable eons, right? So, however, those Bodhisattvas who are on now in a very high level of Bodhisattva bhumi or the path, they have done it. So this should be our inspiration. So we should be reading many of these Bodhisattvas' biographies and how they did it, right? And so if you have time to like explore all these Bodhisattvas' biographies in many of these collection of sutra and things like that, then it's a real story of a living being who was on the path and achieved it. So then we can apply this to us. Like if they could do it, I can do it too, right? So this way, don't be kind of discourage yourself. You have all the things that it needs for you to be able to become a great bodhisattva like all these great bodhisattvas.
那这边呢 ，Khenpo 的这个回答就是告诉我们说，那我们知道说这些大菩萨、诸佛以及所有的这个诸佛菩萨们呢，他们之前都是跟我们一样，都是众生嘛，都是六道当中的众生。可是因为他们这个努力不懈的精进用功的这个修持，那最终呢，你看到他们都是成功的得证这个无上正等正觉，能够达证这个解脱涅槃的彼岸。所以呢，这时候呢，我们必须要提醒自己呢，只要自己能够跟他们一样的向他们学习，以他们为典范的话，以他们为推动我们向前迈进的动力的话呢，那一样的我们也可以如此的得证无上正等正觉。那虽然说这个成就菩萨道的修持，成就佛道修持需要花很长的时间，那根据显教经称的这个道理的话呢，需要花至少要花这个3大阿僧祇劫那么长远的时间。可是最终这些大菩萨们还是成就了这个佛道，还是达证了这个解脱自由的这个境地。所以呢，任何地上的菩萨都已经达证了同样的无上正等正觉。所以如果你读他们的生平的故事，那佛菩萨的传记啊、高僧传等等，是有时间去阅读这些经文、经典或者论点的话，那应当会了解到说，因为他们的没有放弃，所以最终 他们的这个成功的奋斗史，成佛的这种启发，应该能够启发跟勉励我们呢，不要妄自菲薄，然后向他们学习。那如果佛菩萨可以做到的话，我们也同样的，我们也当然可以做到，因为他们的视线，他们的成功史呢，正是我们可以学习，以之为启发跟勉励自己的一种典范跟这个榜样。不要忘记呢，不要妄自菲薄，你拥有一切能够成就菩提佛道的一切资粮跟善好的条件，目前为止你就能够这样做了。还有，下一个问题。Khenpo, I'm having a cancer at the last stage now. I have to do a lot of chemotherapy, etc. But it's almost pointless now. I feel like giving up, and should I just surrender to the process of dying, and then should I just face my death openly and mindfully, and to practice Dharma and also to accumulate merits in order to have a better rebirth in my future life? What should I do now? 这个问题呢，这个问题对不起，我先翻译。这个就是我是已经患癌了，我就是这个癌症的末期，然后必须要倾家荡产的去做很多的这个电疗、化疗等等这个事情。那我是否应该要多临终前就是好好的面对我自己的死亡，无畏惧的面对我的死亡，多做一些供养跟功德，精进的修行，累积福报呢？就是以便能够获得更好的来生来修持佛法，成就这个佛道。
Yeah, this I will maybe leave it to yourself, like how you feel, right? Is there any hope of going through chemotherapy again? I mean, you have done it before, but if there's any hope, right? If there is a hope, of course, I will recommend it and just keep doing it together with your effort. Of course, I know when you go through this treatment, then it drains you. You have no more energy of practicing, and so therefore asking you to do practice is too much to ask. However, I still want to say, just keep in mind that if you can still think of any part of any kind of point of the Buddhist practice that will be helpful. But I don't want you to kind of stop chemotherapy if you feel there's a hope. But if you already know that it's just a I don't know, for the sake of your family members or doctor's recommendation, but deep down you know that this is not going to help, then I would say why you go through this. Basically, chemotherapy is like a poison that you are taking in, right? And of course, it has benefits sometimes. But if you know for sure it doesn't help you anymore, then I should say that it's really you have to trust yourself. Don't underestimate yourself. That you know better, your own health, your own body. You know better than anybody else. And so with your knowledge, your own understanding of your situation, and then you can decide, whether you should go with the chemotherapy or not. Then of course, always try to recollect all the instructions of now the preparation for next life, or all the instructions that you have to now recollect in order to make yourself a little bit easier, more smoother and more calm. This is very important.
Khenpo 的回答就是说，你必须要自己决定说在这个化疗的电疗方面这些疗程呢，对你目前的阶段是没有任何的具体的这个帮助。那如果你决定说还是要继续这个化疗、电疗的这些过程的话呢，那你也必须要同时呢，必须要知道说必须要这个 怎么说？因为你经历过这个化疗电疗之后，Khenpo老知道说你的体力上呢、精力上消耗很多，所以在这时候要求你勉强的去修持一些法门的话，对你来说似乎是一种过分的要求。但是Khenpo还是要勉励你呢，也就是说你还是必须要去意念佛法的功德，去能够视为你佛法的修持上任何的诀窍，如果能够忆持的话，这样对自己这一世跟下一世是很有帮助的。但是如果你已经知道所谓的这个化疗等等这些是无济于事的话，即便是医生跟你的家人也清楚的知道，这是无济于事的话，因为你说所谓的化疗其实是一种毒疗，就是一种把毒药摄入你自己的身体里面嘛，所以会影响你整个身体的机能。那如果你知道的话呢，也不要轻易的觉得气馁，因为你还是必须要信任自己，要信任自己的这个身体。那只有自己比别人更清楚自己的身体的条件跟因缘上的变化，所以呢，你必须要自己决定下一步应该怎么做。因为你总是比自己更知道自己的修行的条件跟身体的这个状况。同时Khenpo也告诫您呢要多忆持佛法的诀窍，那这样去修持佛法的一些法门，这样的话对你下一生乃至对你面对整个治疗或者乃至于死亡的过程呢，都能够让你保持安心平顺让你的心情非常的柔和止静跟自在。所以这一点而言呢，对你和你自己的身体自己修行是一定有所帮助的。Khenpo, my question is dealing with difficult people, because I easily lose patience while dealing with them. So what should I do? 这个问题就问说，Khenpo老，我面对一些比较麻烦的一些人的时候呢，那应该怎么办呢？因为我们总是对他们失去耐心。
Yeah, it's not easy, for sure, you know. However, you have to start somewhere. You will not be always like this. If you can start working on it, you know. But the thing is, I think recognizing it and acknowledging it that you have, short temper itself is a progress. Many of the time people don't admit, and but I think when you reflect yourself, when you look into yourself and you recognize it, I think this is the first step towards making some progress. And then later on, just keep working on it. Then again, the reason is the thing. Analytical reason is what you have to apply for yourself. Like when you get angry, what does it do? Does this anger really fulfill your wish at that time? Is it something that you really want at that time or any other times also? You have to analyze those things. And then, next time when anger arises, I think then you will think twice at that time. So this way, you can make progress. That's little by little, little by little.
所以这边 Khenpo 的回答就是说呢，这个是面对一些让你容易生气的人、惹麻烦的人，当然是不容易的一件事情啊。但是呢，我们必须要接受有这样的状况的这个出现，这当然是一个很好的一个开始。那事情永远不会这样，不会永远保持这样的这个状况。那首先我们对这个状况加以承认、加以认可和接受呢，这已经是修行进步的一大征兆跟一大进步了。所以呢。很多人都是否定说，自己有这个不耐烦、容易生气的这种毛病，所以这一边你肯承认自己是缺乏耐心的，容易对别人生气，那这已经是跨出一大步了，修行的一大步了。那下一步呢，你就必须要分析的说，那这些人这样的对待我呢，我生气呢，又能够达到又有什么作用呢？我生气难道就能够称心满意呢，达到我的目标吗？ 我还需要常常这样的生气吗？所以下次你生气的时候，你就会再度的再度的升起这样的这种思维，以这种理性的分析升起这样的理性的思维的话，所以一步一步的慢慢的，下一次你就不再那么的生气了。这个就是让我们的修行以理性思维让我们的这个修行渐次增长的这个步骤跟方式。还有下一个问题。Khenpo, when we talk about practice Dharma, should we not mix up with the politics? Because when we talk about when we criticize certain policy of certain government or certain political leaders, is that will that damage our Dharma practice?
Yeah, can you translate that?
这个 Khenpo 你今天谈到这个修行人，不要谈太多关于政治的事情。可是我们见到某个国家的领导、一些政府、一些政策的不当的时候，那我们不是应该要给予批评吗
？Yeah, it depends on the situation. As a Dharma practitioner, pure Dharma practitioner, right? And by criticizing policies or politicians, you have to see, you have to analyze. Will this make any changes? Will your voice, will it make any effect on the society, right? If you see that there is this chance of making the situation better or something like that, then of course you go ahead and do it. But as a practitioner, you can then make this into a Dharma practice rather than just a shrewd kind of politics, right? Because on behalf of sentient beings in general, and particularly the people around here in this particular district, so I represent them. I want to voice for them. I want to be voice for those who are voiceless, right? And so when you see that kind of situation, then you can also fix your motivation combined with genuine loving kindness, caring, and then just the actual kind of practice is, the voicing and criticizing or complaining, whatever. I think it's not then going to be just politics. It's going to be Dharma practice as well.
Khenpo 的这个回答就是说，当你看到一些政策上、一些政治上、一些政策上、一些政治领袖上的不当的行为、言行或者是策略政策的时候呢，那如果你发言、你出声、你做某一些政治上的运动的话，能够对众生、对世界有帮助的话，能够让这个世界变得更好，能够让情况有所改善的话，自然的你可以全管去做。所以这边而言呢，也就是说，在佛法的观点来说，你在广义上你是代替一切众生发言，因为你是为了一些众生的扶持、一些众生的福利呢，批判这个政治。在狭义上来说，你是为你本土的那个众生、本土的那边的平民发出一些声音，代替这个大多数的不能够讲话的人讲出一些必须要讲的话。这样的话呢，只要你的这个动机跟你的发心是正确的，只要你有这个大慈大悲心，同时你不是为了政治化说出一些政治的言辞，那你的发心又是为了广大的众生的福利跟利乐而做的话呢，你这种政治性的发言，不只是政治性的发言，而变成了一种佛道上非常精准的一种修持。这个时候呢，你是可以这样做的。I think that's all for today, Khenpo. I think. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So we will have the dedication.
那下来我们就做这个功德的这个回向。
sonam de damje sibani pone nebe dana pamje ne yega na je bala phubai sibe solan gowando. Okay, so see you next time. Take care.